Be advised, mature content ahead. This podcast is brought to you ad-free thanks to the Legion of Demons at patreon.com/NOTLP. If you like what you hear, there's much more at patreon.com/NOTLP. Join the Legion. That's patreon.com/NOTLP. And now the show.
How do you do? Just a word of friendly warning. I think it will thrill you. It may shock you. It might even horrify you. So if any of you feel that you do not care to subject your nerves to such a strain, now is your chance to, well, we've warned you.
God bless you, Michael Lynch, for picking John Carpenter's The Thing for this week's main attraction.
Endured.
I love this movie, and any excuse to rewatch it, I'm on board 100%.
I don't need an excuse.
You don't even need it. It's just always on.
It's. I watch this movie probably once a year at least.
Yeah, and the original's fucking fantastic.
In fact, I watched it just a couple months ago.
I don't know why I said fucking. I really wanted to make the point of how much I like the original, and I went blue. And
I feel we should use that word more often in everyday language, everyday conversation.
Fucking
A.
Yeah, fucking.
What are we fucking doing here today?
This is staff picks and our mailing list subscriber, Michael Lynch, and in-person meadery friend. Mm-hmm. We did a meadery together. Mm-hmm. We met. He brought us cheese. Mm-hmm. So he was selecting. If you want an opportunity to pick one of our main attractions, just sign up for the mailing list, notlp.com. Scroll down TC Dracula, all the stuff's there. And we randomly select someone every month to pick a movie for our main attraction that fits with the theme we're doing, and this theme was staff picks. So it was like a wild card round. Yep. It could have been anything. And
if you see Frankenstein, don't click on that. That's not it.
If you don't click on Frankenstein, it's not for the mailing list.
It's Dracula.
That's just a spare parts list.
Yeah, I don't know why we would have that.
I don't know.
Yeah. We if you're into Frankenstein, we had a conversation on Origins. Origins where for our patrons, patreon.com/NOTLP. Our patrons get access to episodes from many moons ago. Right now we're going back to 2010, re-listening to the episodes we released that year with fresh ears and fresh societal and cultural understanding. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And in this one, we had discussed the trailer for the Human Centipede. Mm-hmm. And then in the Origins intro, we had a conversation about that, which is a Frankenstein in the genre of the Mad Scientist Frankenstein movie.
Yeah.
So anyways, there's your segue, your roundabout to that.
I think it's kind of crazy that we've almost had 200 episodes of Origins.
It is kind of crazy. You're right.
Oh my goodness.
So another thing, if you're a patron, besides hearing our old dirty laundry, every week,
stinky.
That's my favorite member of the Wu-Tang Clan.
Old dirty,
old dirty laundry.
Rest in peace. He got washed. Now he's just laundry.
The other thing that you get that's special besides our weekly meetups, God, what a value being an NOTLP patron is.
The value.
What else do we get, Freddie?
You get a meetup every week. We get together and goof off on Zoom, not in person, obviously. Plus, the travel would be crazy flying people back and forth.
Or for Ryan for Japan, that would be a hell on him.
He's like, every Thursday I have to board a plane to Cincinnati.
It's expensive.
It's because of my patronage.
And because of this, I have to buy plane tickets. We also do a show called Topicana, which is kind of just our general discussion show.
It's our icebreaker question thing.
And normally what we do is whoever listened to and took the notes on the Origins episode that week picks the Topicana question. Last week, Amy had it. Mm-hmm. And her question was a Pod People Party.
Yep, Pod People Party.
Which is
Pod People Party, a triple P.
3 historical figures in a giant Ferris wheel pod with a onboard bar signature cocktail included.
We're chilling. Who do you want? Who do you want to chill with?
I had a lot of fun doing that one.
Yeah,
I did too. It was good. I like to hear everyone's choices.
I'm gonna tease mine now.
Oh,
Because technically I was supposed to do the origins this week, so it's my
But because
Topicana.
it was your birthday.
It was Freddy's birthday.
Freddy's
Yesterday.
Amy's like, I'm going to give this hour and 15 minutes back to you in your life.
Oh, you gave him the gift of time.
She gave me the gift of time, which is the most valuable thing.
My God, am I just the? You know what else I did for him yesterday? I put air in his tires.
She did.
More time did she give you?
Mm-hmm. She did.
You better throw that on. You better put that in on the receipt.
Mm-hmm.
Were you surprised when you open up the box, Freddie? It was just a bunch of air.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was like, oh. She's like, I thought I'd put it in the box for presents, and then you could put it in the tires.
No, I did it. The boss I am.
She is a boss.
Yeah.
Okay, here's my question for this week's Topicana. Yeah. And a lot of these we steal from Reddit, just transparency here. I don't know if I did with this one or not. I just make a big list.
Please also text it or
I will.
Copy and paste it or something because I'll forget.
All right. It's what TV show or movie from your childhood has gone into obscurity? And I mean obscurity.
TV show or movie, you said?
Yeah, TV show or movie. I would even expand this out to possibly maybe comic books, but I would try to stick with TV show or movie.
That's tough because I was a very mainstream kid.
And you might have to think on this. Because
I feel like we've discussed many of those things from mine on this very show.
Yeah. We have. And this would be something like maybe it's something you don't even remember the name of, but like try to figure it out between now and when we record
we can help.
Yeah, we'll try to help each other out.
Who's gonna pick Foofer?
Oh, there you go. That's a good
Little
one.
bunny Foo-Foo.
That's a great example.
I can find it for you right now.
Foofer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Foofer thought.
And you could do more than one. We'll do this like we do with a round table because obviously you might have like 2 minutes worth of discussion on one. If just come prepared with some obscure shit.
Bring that content.
Bring that obscure shit.
I'm gonna say Ghostbusters. Nobody's ever heard of that.
Nobody's heard of it.
It's like ghost what?
They do what to them? Like in their butts?
But seriously, man,
Ghost butters.
Ghost butters.
That's what he said. I'm sure of it.
Andy just told me before we started recording that Howard Hessman died.
Oh. We just saw him in This Is Spinal Tap.
Yeah, Johnny Fever.
Yeah,
that sucks because as we were talking about patron benefits, hopefully my design is going to be inspired by WKRP. So I'm a little.
Oh yeah, we still got to do that. If you yet another value you get merch, but we have some. It's called a Patreon loyalty program.
Stop being so capitalistic during our RIP for Howard Hessman.
Howard Hessman would want you to be a patron of the show because he was also involved in radio.
Okay.
At WKRP right here in Cincinnati.
But Andy, you made a good point. The Bengals should win today in honor
for him,
for Howard Hessman
and his connection to Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Do it for the Hess.
Do it for the Hess.
Who was the original head of the class?
Head of the class.
Yeah.
Which honestly, anyway, never mind. I'm not gonna spoil.
Yeah, be careful. Don't spoil anything.
You gonna spoil head of the class for us?
Yeah. You know what happens at the end? They were all dead the whole time.
They were just heads
of the class.
Of the class.
Their heads.
Mm-hmm.
Their heads in jars.
And they have been the whole time.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So you're catching us 2 hours before the Bengals game today, the AFC Championship.
Hooday.
Yeah.
I want all listeners say hooday right now.
I heard you.
Okay.
And you sounded great.
Thank you for the support.
That felt like a moment from like Dora the Explorer.
See, our podcast is interactive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's more value you get. And that's for free.
It's been an exciting time.
Yeah. Okay, Amy, we're talking about this.
I'm super psyched.
We're gonna be fine if they lose.
Of course, we didn't. I never expected to be here.
I'm just happy. We're just happy to be there.
We're just happy to be there.
If I had watched the whole season, I would probably be biting my nails. But
sure.
honestly, like I have
So
unburdened
zen.
myself of that yoke of fandom
You
of
are
the
zen
Bengals. It makes me feel so much better. But I love to see them win.
Mm-hmm.
But
Well,
I
that's what-
I don't mind. It doesn't break my heart when they lose anymore. Is what I'm trying to say.
Alise said this morning, and I said this to the crew, but I'm going to say it to you now, listeners. Is that we
He
just
said it
want
3
to be-
times.
We just want it to be a good game.
Yes.
An enjoyable game to watch where, there's a real competitive game.
You gotta say it 3 times. I gotta stab her 3 times.
Well, that's my I'm doing my football ritual.
He's like, look, I told the cats this morning, and then the dog came in, so I repeated it for the dog, and then the other dog came in, and I was like, Nash, and
It's
Nash
my
just
compulsion.
stared at you.
It's gotta tell everybody. Tell your pets, Kelley.
Who day?
I just called
I
Riker
already told
Nash.
You
Nash.
did. Nash is Elsa's brother. He
Isn't
lives
that
across
crazy?
the street.
Yeah,
What are you doing over there?
I'm a mess.
Now that you're 44,
Yeah, I'm
it's
slipping.
just shutting down.
Can I just tell you, Kelly's puppy Riker is
Sweet
one of the
man.
cutest little fellers I've ever seen, and I can't wait to
He's-
come over and cuddle him.
He is a very cuddly little cuddler. He just like falls into you like a kitty cat. But he's just like, he's got no bones. He just like falls in and he's just like,
Bones day, no bones day.
Let's put a meet Riker day on the calendar.
we'll have to work it out.
Once we get our home tests,
We'll test again if it makes you comfortable.
Oh yeah, this whole week Freddie and I thought we had COVID. We do not.
Oh,
I don't know what's wrong with us.
This is you guys right now.
On
or
Andy's
hanging off
nuts.
of,
You're on my COVID nuts.
Yep.
Yeah.
On your COVID nuts.
COVID
It's like,
nuts.
COVID's my thing, guys. How dare you get it?
That's what that girl choked on in Heather's, right?
COVID.
Nuts.
COVID nuts.
That was her last words.
Yeah.
Regular or
So.
BQ? BQ.
I'll tell you, Freddie and I watched Resident Evil: Welcome to Raccoon City.
Yeah.
Super dug it. Just letting everybody know if you were on the
Yeah.
fence. I thought it was great.
I bought it because I wanted to support the director who worked on Strangers Pray at Night, and my expectations were right in the middle. I know he's a very competent director. He's a very talented dude, but it's a Resident Evil reboot on a budget. And I'm kind of like, okay, how good can it be? But if you're a fan of the first 2 Resident Evil games, it's really a fucking great tribute to that and an entertaining movie too. Like shockingly great cast.
He was shocked.
I was shocked.
Well,
I guess.
I like a Resident Evil movie, so
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, this is taking it back to basics. There are so many nods. It all takes place in '98. There's so much love just given to the fact that it's 1998, and so much it is kind of like when we talk about like 80s movies. Like, do they put stuff in there just to make it? Hey, we're the 80s, whippity doo.
I don't always mind that though. Things like that work on me. I like to be pandered to.
This is tongue in cheek, but it makes it so much fun because it feels like a time machine back to when the game came out.
Yeah, I am into it. You sold me.
Yeah.
You've sold me this idea.
A bill of goods.
Yep, great cast. Jill Valentine, whoever she was, that was somebody I'd known from other things, I think. She was great. The lead who was from that show Upload or whatever.
We don't have to list everything.
Well, let's keep listing some things.
One of the the
Freddie
guys.
loves Cass.
I love
One of those
casts.
guys.
Yeah, play the guy who looks like a Ritter. Like
A John Ritter?
kind of like a John Ritter vibe.
He looks like a Ritter.
You fell off the Ritter tree?
Hit every branch.
Someone hit you with a Ritter stick. It's Robbie Amell.
Oh,
Or
So
Amell.
none
I don't
of
know
you-
how he pronounces it.
Isn't he like a superhero person?
I think that's his brother.
Oh.
That's
He
the
was in the-
Arrow dude.
Isn't he like an arrow?
Oh, that's
his
not him.
brother.
That's his brother.
Yeah.
Oh, there's more than one Emil?
I'm so sorry to tell you this.
He was in the show Upload, which is really good. It's very much like The Good Place.
So we're just shouting out names at this point.
You want me to throw some more names at
If
you?
you could, babe, that'd be great.
Yeah. The other one I was thinking
No.
of is Hannah John Kamen, who played Jill Valentine. She was Ghost in Ant-Man and the Wasp. That's the other thing that I knew her from.
Oh, she's really pretty. And she was on that one movie. I'm not going to forget it.
She was in
No,
one of
you
the,
just tell me now. I'm dying.
She does a
here.
lot of those
That,
big budget movies.
That Steven Spielberg one where it's all nostalgia.
Lincoln.
You know,
yeah.
I'm just so tired of the 1860s and all these movies
We
made
get
about
it.
it. They didn't live in that era. They don't know.
We get it. It's the 1860s.
Only 1860s kids know.
Yeah, only kids who are Generation Civil War will get this. These references, and then there's like gray uniforms.
Only Civil War kids will recognize these.
Yeah, I took
20
best
items.
BuzzFeed list.
Yeah, I took that BuzzFeed quiz.
Which union orphan are you? Looks like I'm this little dirty cheek scamp here.
Dirty cheek.
I guess because I said I prefer ketchup on my steaks.
Oh, Freddie, you're such an Elijah.
You're such the Orphan Smith. Is there anything else you guys want to cover at the top here before we get into the roulette movie?
Nah.
The nays have it.
Hello, boys and girls. It's time for straight-to-video Russian roulette.
Speak free. It's Mary. Our daughter's ears are deaf to the Lord's preachings. She continues to engage in acts with the housemaid.
Correction is needed.
Mary, knees and prayers.
I'm tired of a life spent hiding.
Fear and weakness keep us here.
What troubles you?
I fear sinful affection could bring death upon this family.
Eleanor?
They brought evil into this house.
Could you recite the Lord's Prayer for us?
Christ, mortify your members which are upon the earth. Fornication, uncleanness,
Fear, affection, and weakness keep us here. Our fate rests on this.
Destroy the works of the devil.
Such a sinful
and lead us
presence.
not into temptation, but deliver us from evil.
That sounds like a setup for like a joke from grade school.
I rate this movie L for letdown.
I meant the title, not the trailer, by the way. I meant like, the last thing Mary saw, and they're like the steering wheel going through her forehead.
Yeah, totally. I agree. I would have enjoyed that more. This movie was such a disappointment.
Sorry.
And it's what I like to call, as we discussed, a B-24, B-23, where it is a movie that is trying to, as the kid went on and on about in the Scream movie, elevated horror movies. It's a period piece set in 1843. So I want to get the good out of the way.
Please do.
I can't recommend this because it kind of really annoyed me at the end. Well, I mean, the whole thing annoyed me, but I didn't realize it until the end when there was no payoff. Like I was like, well, I suspected that this was going to be a sloppy mess of an idea, but I was like, well, just stick it out because here's the good. The acting is really good. Everybody's solid.
Cool.
Extra points to Kieran Culkin.
I could see those Culkin eyes in that trailer.
That's identified. I felt amazing. I was like, that dude looks like Kieran Culkin.
Yeah.
And then
Kieran
at least I IMDb'd it,
eyes.
and 'twas him.
I love the Culkins.
To the tune of Betty
I
Davis.
do too. And then, so the acting was good. The production, great. Like it was shot like beautifully. Like the direction was good. The tension building was good until, again, the idea that you were trying to be tense about started to get muddy, and you were like, "Wait, what's happening?" So that's the good. The good is I'm giving you the facts of life here. So we've taken the good.
All right.
I'm going to give you the bad, which is everything else. And it's the right. This really, and I'm sorry, writer, you fucked up. This is all the writer's fault. Because this story is like all over the place, and you don't know if this is like some kind of allegory about, having to keep secrets about your sexuality, because the two main characters are secret lesbian lovers, and
secret
they have
lesbians,
and they have to like, and they just keep getting busted, and like. Yeah, I don't even know what the story, like, it's so muddy and all over the goddamn place. So you're like, is it some kind of thing about that? Because there's some goofy, clunky dialogue towards the end, and like even a lot of the dialogue was fine until that moment. Like it just was and then there's like a supernatural element that like it just came out of nowhere. Like it was just like they watched this, really felt like it wanted to be The Witch.
I'm sorry, the what?
The Vivitch.
It reminded me of the trailer. Reminded me of the old Scarlet Letter adaptation, or the Crucible they did with Winona Ryder.
Mm-hmm.
It had kind of that, but it was even more like, it was even more indie. It was just more down to earth, but it felt more real in those movies. But like, it just, we Wikipedia'd this afterwards, and like nobody, the plot made even less sense. Like I saw where, like I was like, oh, that's what you're kind of going for, goofy, because there's all these weird little hints, and it's just like, what is the point of this movie?
Kelley, what is the scary part of this movie? What makes it a horror? I don't understand. Just from the trailer, I get like a religious horror vibe.
No, you're exactly right. There is no, that was the thing I was gonna say. Nothing. There is no scary part of this movie, because you like there are things you're like, is that the scary part? There's an old lady, and she's kind of a supernatural thing. So there is a slight spoiler, because this is not a recommend.
Old lady.
Well, there's an old lady. There's the religious shit, and then there's
is it like witchcrafty, like as a metaphor for lesbianism?
No. Yes. No. I don't know. There's like a little book about it, and it's a family secret. It's just like all the things. It's like almost like a parody, but that's not. It's like an accidental parody of an A24 movie. You know what I mean? Like it just throws together all these disparate elements from other like ones, but to try and make a story out of them, and then it just doesn't make any fucking sense at all, and it's just a waste of really good talent.
Bummer.
Music's good, score's good. Everything but the story is good.
Like that scene in the trailer, and I don't know if this scene plays out the same way as it does in the trailer, but I thought it was kind of effective. Was the moment when they're forcing them to recite the Lord's Prayer, and then they train those guns on them. Is that the scene as it played in the movie, or did they cut that together in the trailer? Do you know?
I mean, that happens, but it doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah, see, that would have been, to me, the idea of being like gun to your head religious is a scary concept to me.
That is not what that was.
So that's not what that was. Yeah, so that the trailer's better than the movie then.
Yeah, for sure. And again, like you can watch this movie and think you can get all the way to the end and think maybe it's going to be good if you think one of two things has to happen by the time you make it to the end of this movie. Either the end is going to blow your dick in the dirt, and all these crazy things where you're like, none of this is going to, there's no way this is all going to make any kind of sense as a story. And then somehow they pull it off, and you just fucking fly into the wall and your hair blows back like Poltergeist. Like that's option one.
The setup is, so at least it did, it stirred you. Its first and second acts did their job. It's stirring you.
That's option. Well, they kept me. They didn't stir me. They kept me.
They kept you.
So option one is if they could have done that, or you were going to just be let down because it just turned out exactly how you thought, and that is what happened.
Yeah,
I did not get blown into the wall. My dick remained firmly attached and clean.
Well, I have to say that the trailer was just so generic.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Like
I would.
As soon as the guy started talking, I kind of chuckled because it seemed
sounded cheap.
Yeah. I could sound like, oh, we've been beset with many calamities and burdens.
Oh my God.
That type of super flowery, old timey language.
And what's funny, the trailer, in some ways, the movie is better than the trailer because the movie doesn't ever really feel like that. Like you think it's all headed towards something. And so within the context and the world of the movie, like that dialogue is actually all fine. It's just that the story is just like they couldn't decide, or they just didn't have it in them to actually tell a compelling narrative, and they just had too many ideas.
Kelley, I think a good palate cleanser for this is you should watch the latest season of Letterkenny. There's an episode called Dick Meat, and it's about Farmer Dick and the sausage party he throws.
Yeah.
And he's Amish, but he speaks like the people in the trailer, but everything he says it's like a double entendre, and he's not aware of it. That's the joke.
Entendre.
It's very Kingpin-esque.
Yeah.
They did another episode with that character, but like whether you are a fan of Letterkenny or not, watching the episodes with the Amish dude, Dick, he's amazing. That particular actor. He's only in a select few of them. But it's chef's kiss of parodying exactly this.
He's been doing that a lot lately.
Chef's kiss.
I've been cooking a lot, so I have to do that.
Are your
fingers constantly wet
on each of those? Are you paying into the royalty fund for every time you do that? That's a fucking goddamn. We got to pay for that.
Mm-hmm.
I have just burned a lot of money.
Listen, I know that. Sometimes you have to do it, and that's why we have the fund. Yeah. But like you've been over. You've been using them willy nilly, and I just
man.
He can't be stopped.
You can chef's kiss as much as you want.
Aww.
Wow.
Thank you.
It is nice. It's fun to do.
It is.
Yeah. It is fun to do. You gotta, and also there's like an art to doing the pinch just right, so that you're pulling invisible spit out of your mouth and flinging it when you do it.
Now, listeners, I want you guys to try it out. Everybody chef's kiss right now.
You gotta touch your fingers to your mouth
and make them sound,
and then do the yay with your hand.
The latest strain of COVID is only activated when someone pinches COVID mucus.
We're super
It's the chef's kiss variant.
Chef's kiss variant.
They're calling it chef's kissing.
This shit goes on. We will get there.
Yeah.
I would. I'd rather be dead than free than dead.
You think Chef Boyardee will become like the "Don't Tread on Me"?
Yeah.
People are gonna have parties where they dress up like chefs and just kiss each other when they have COVID.
They just kiss their hands and blow it at each other.
They can start a caravan, just blocking traffic and chefs kissing everybody.
Do you think kids on their first date would ever like chef kiss each other, like at each other, just like, and that's like the most innocent thing. I love you.
Who the hell brought the Confederate flag to Canada? Who the hell did that? It's fucking insane. Okay, are we done? I'm so sorry, Kelley.
No.
If you're not following the news, Amy's
no need to be sorry. It's fine.
Amy, why do you hate freedom?
Kelley, thank you so much for your review.
You are super welcome.
Let's see who's up next.
Next.
We're gonna pass around this Jack in the Box. Crank it till it pops.
Doing the
till it's Taco Pops.
Crank it till it pops up.
Mm-hmm. Andy, you're up first.
Around.
Classic. Andy, baby.
Hey, mwah, chef's kiss.
Chef's kiss.
That was awesome.
So I'm up next.
Oh no, Freddy.
Everything sucks for him now.
Oh, Freddy makes the jackpot.
Yeah, he does. He's a real poppin' fresh.
I'm a poppin' fresh.
Yeah,
you are poppin' fresh.
Press his belly.
I will not. All right. Freddie, I've selected this movie called Meander. It's French.
It's called Meander?
Mm-hmm. And it's on
boy.
Amazon Prime. This is the description. A woman finds herself locked in a series of strange tunnels full of deadly traps.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Yeah.
She has to meander her way out?
I would guess. I would guess. Judging
Let's hope
from
it
this.
doesn't describe the plot.
What if the villain's name is Ander? She gets to the end. He's like, "Hey, Meander," and she's like, "Oh," and then it's like, "Boom," and then the title just comes up, Meander, and then the credits roll.
Well, you'll let us know next
I
week
will.
or whenever that is.
Yep. Meander, and then the audience is just silent for a minute, and then the slow clap starts, and then people stand up, and they all start just applauding really fast, like Meander. What's his name? His name was Ander.
I remember the Meander riots. They were
time. French.
They were chef's kiss. Do you guys want to move on to the?
Yeah, I mean, if you want.
Let's move on to the thing.
Yeah.
Let's do the thing.
100,000 years ago, it found its way into our galaxy. Trapped in the frozen wasteland of Antarctica, it could not escape. Now the men of Station 4 have made a monumental discovery. An alien creature had frozen, but not to death. And man,
It isn't Benny.
is the warmest place to hide.
There, man.
Can we take a second and just talk about, not only is it like a perfect movie, but that is like one of the best movie trailers ever. That is a fucking movie trailer, man.
It's legitimately like scary. The movie's still
Carpenter
cut
that. I bet he cut that trailer.
I bet you.
Or his editor.
Or the cheese.
Yeah. Or Dean Kundi, man. That guy.
Whoever the editor was.
Freddie could not shut up about Dean Kundi.
I just realized that, like, I was sitting, I'm like, people were like, do you have a favorite cinematographer? And you're like, well.
Do people ever anybody that?
Yeah, people
I
think
guess
that.
like full on deep.
Yeah.
Super deep.
Snobs.
And I'm like, you know what?
I like Daniel Pearl.
There you go.
All right.
Dean Kundi is like, I think I was watching this and I was thinking back like, oh, I love that shot. You just know he's like John Williams. When you hear John Williams music, it's instantly recognizable. When you see and he's one of the cinematographers where his stuff is just, he makes those isolated shots that are like in the beginning of The Fog where they're in the store with a little swinging sign and then all the little shots around the town as things are getting weird. He does that with Station 4 in The Thing.
Yeah,
which is kind of brilliant the way he shows it as he really gives you a sense of isolation and loneliness and helplessness, and it's just so intensely great.
Mm-hmm. This is a perfect movie.
It really is. So the story is, and if you've seen the prequel / reboot, whatever they were trying to do, which I didn't think was terrible. I thought it really was a great recreation of the look of this movie, but. That's neither here nor there, but you know how that one ends with them chasing the dog, right? If I remember right, like this opens with these, what were they? Were they Dutch?
Norwegian.
That's right. Norwegian. Another group of scientists are chasing this dog through Antarctica.
It's been so long since I've seen The Thing, so I didn't remember how I was like, don't hit. Why are we shooting? I don't like this.
But it's not a dog.
It's not a dog. That's the.
It's not a dog.
I get it later.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of dog pain.
Yeah.
Dog mutilation.
Just the sounds of the dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's very like intensely dramatic and sad, and with Richard Mazur's character, I think they play into like he raised all these pups and
This movie's so good.
It really is. Well, and that's
the setup, like just that whole, like this is such a great, concise, like easy peasy, perfect alien monster horror movie. Like with you get everything you need to know pretty much. You know what I mean? There's not like a great vast mythology. It's just like,
there's not like a lot of exposition.
Well, it's not just the alien sci-fi stuff. I just love the movies where a ragtag group of people are stuck in a place and they have to find out like a whodunit.
The Men of Research Station 4, you mean?
It's like Murder Order Express and those type of movies where they had to suspect they're trapped on they're isolated.
Andy likes a bottle episode with a side of suspicion.
Yeah. Andy, have they done a gay porn parody called The Men of the Antarctic Research Station 4 yet?
I'll look into it.
Because man is the warmest place to hide.
We'll crowdsource it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You don't even change the title. It's still called The Thing.
Okay, so the dog gets in because it's their dog.
Well, it looks like one of their dogs, and well, that's the beauty of it. Like, you clearly, like, you feel like, what is Mazur's character's name in this? I can't remember.
Clark, I think.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Well, I don't think it was their dog.
It came from the railway station, didn't it?
I think having a snow dog is just like something you have up there.
Yeah, okay.
Because
they occur in nature randomly.
It was the Norwegians that were chasing after it in the first place, right?
You're right.
Yeah. So it was a Norwegian dog.
That the alien doubled.
Yeah. Well, we don't know that they started. I can't remember in the prequel they did it.
It doesn't matter. Let's not get caught up.
I have not seen that, so I don't count that.
Oh, okay. So the beauty of this is like that open. They could have started chasing it. Who knows how long ago and what form, right? It's just, and maybe it's so intelligent and insidious. It knew its best way into this next place was to be a dog.
I think it would have had to have come in contact with a dog first.
Yeah, it would have had to. And they said, they would let the dogs run. You know what I mean? Like he was talk about like, when you brought the dogs in and everything. So I feel like the dogs had some like freedom to roam a little bit, and one of them got replaced.
But in a weird way, I felt for the alien. It was just trying to survive.
Oh yeah,
right.
I don't know if I felt.
It's purely logical.
Well, I don't know.
Do you feel for COVID-19?
I don't know if I had those feelings because it was in the form of a dog, but
yeah.
Just the fact that it was running so fast and like I just want to be safe.
Yeah,
like it just wants to live too.
Well, there is this. Well, sure,
it's an intelligent being.
I don't think it meant to come to Earth, right?
Well,
I think it meant to go somewhere and take over.
You're right. It's the most alien I think I have seen in a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't understand its mechanics. I don't get what it's doing when all those strings and then it's splitting. I can
help you. We can make a digital model that's a floating blue blob. And this might help.
Okay.
It's a floating blue blob in 4-bit to possibly 8-bit resolution. And then a red arrow is going to come at it. Okay.
Yeah.
You with me so far?
Yeah.
And the red arrow pierces the blue blob.
Oh.
Then it turns that blue blob kind of red, and then the blue comes back.
Mm-hmm.
Does that help?
Yes.
And then if I could pull it up on my computer here.
Can you pull that up on the computer? I need to see a representation of it graphically.
If you guys
for you to explain this to me.
Well, let me just let the computer give you a readout of exactly what's happening.
So can we look at the growth of this? But I need to see it.
I think by next week we're going to have pretty much complete assimilation.
Okay.
If I'm to believe these blue blobs in this text that the computer has generated.
Well, Friday, I need you to clack on your loud keyboard. Keyboards were loud back then, huh?
Yeah, they really were. There's a subset of like nerds that like love those kinds of keyboards and still have them.
They use them in gaming.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
I prefer a keyboard with raised.
Me too.
Like, because my fingers the little pad ones. I have a pad I have a lesser one now. I chose style over substance for my current keyboard, but because it's also beautiful, like coral orangey.
Yeah. I do like the tactile sensation of pressing those.
You
big
like a
buttons.
click clack?
Yeah,
the click clack's satisfying.
But I feel like my fingers don't slip off of those. I type more accurately on a clicky clack than a soft pad.
Does anybody here leave on their little clicky clacky on their phone when they're typing?
I think my clicky clacky is on.
I have my clicky clacky off. I don't like that.
I don't know if it is or isn't.
Just
I
wondering.
wonder what the alien and the thing would prefer.
No, but like they don't. You know that they've sussed out. It's trying to duplicate the things it comes in contact with, so it can replace it and keep going.
Mm-hmm.
But the way it transforms things is so weird
and horrifying.
Doesn't seem efficient.
Gross. It's strange. It's stringy.
That's what's great.
It's alien.
It's very obvious assimilation. Like I would think they would try to do it more subtle to be more.
It's an alien. It has alien ways.
I think that's that's what works so great in its favor. And again, in the sci-fi of this is that, in like Body Snatchers, pod people come out, they're perfect. You don't know really, but like this thing, it is more like, because it's like taking DNA and trying to reform flesh and create it. Like it's messy. Like so it gets it pretty right sometimes if it has the time to do it.
If it has the time, yeah.
But if it gets in, but it can go all over the place, and it's just like it's throwing out. It's very Lovecrafty. It's like a Shoggoth, being like, but the programming goes awry, so all these different things come out of it.
Yeah, and I think we had to remember that this is 100,000 years old. Yeah. So it's a very primitive form of alien.
Or it's very advanced.
Yeah, but that's a thing that kind of did realize scared me in this, watching it this time. Like, they had this technology 100,000 years ago.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what they are now?
Why did they never come back?
And how advanced they are now. They can take over if they wanted to, like that.
But why haven't they in 100,000 years?
Well, maybe it's that far away.
Yeah, I don't It's crazy, man. Anyway, it comes down to all these men in the station. They realize any one of them could be infected because it can replace you.
Mm-hmm. And they get to this point, like, I think the pacing of this movie holds up incredibly well. Where
man.
Yeah, often imitated, rarely duplicated situation here where the blood test scene, even before that, there's other moments, like there are multiple, like, what the fuck moments throughout this movie that hold up so incredibly well. When he finally, Wilford Brimley's character, you all right there, darling?
Excuse me.
Don't you die on me.
I will try not to.
Dr. Blair.
Blur.
When by the way, do you know how old he was when they made this?
He was like 46 or something like that.
I think
22.
When he started making, I think he was like 47 years old.
Oh my God.
He was 49 in Cocoon.
Yeah,
we looked this up not that long ago. He was 49.
You guys are only a couple of years younger than him now.
Yeah, we're a couple of years younger than Wilford Brimley.
Do pictures of him exist as a child?
No, he never was one.
Yeah, he was never a child.
Well, they do, but you did think that they were from you think it's from the same time period because that's just what he looked like.
Jessica Tandy, Hume Cronin,
Don Amici.
Yeah, and Wilford Brimley. They came that way.
They came that way.
They did. They never looked any other way. That does seem true.
I feel if I saw like a picture of a child of Wilford Brimley, that it would drive me mad.
Yeah, it wasn't meant to be seen.
Hume Cronin did look exactly the same, basically. Yeah. I've seen a movie with him as a younger Hume Cronin.
Younger Hume Cronin?
You remind me of a young Hume Cronin. Don't you say to someone they make no impression at all?
Yeah.
You think nobody's named their children Hume anymore, are
Hume.
Hume. No, they sure don't.
So where were we? Brimley.
We're just having fun.
He loses, like, you think he's losing his mind, but he's really the first one to catch on to what's happening, and he doesn't want to waste any time. He's doing what most people watching a horror movie usually say is immediately contain that shit. And it doesn't matter whether we live or die as people in this remote location. We got to protect the rest of the world. He's there immediately. It
drives him mad. Yeah.
It drives him mad, but actually,
he wasn't. He was too crazy to be an effective communicator in that moment.
Yeah.
But like, what really needed to happen was basically they needed to nuke the site, more or less, is the real solution to all that.
I guess you're right. He wasn't. It didn't really drive him mad. It just he
knew the threat,
understood exactly what was happening,
and the immensity of the threat. He couldn't handle it.
Well, or he could.
Too much for his mind.
He was there early. I think he got to where, because at the end, the main difference, if you compare the state he's in at the point of end of Act 1 or middle of Act 2, wherever that happens, is where McReady and Childs kind of are at that like exhausted version of that at the end.
You bring up these names. The names mean nothing to me.
Mm-hmm.
Kurt Russell.
You have to tell me the actors' names or describe them.
Yeah. Keith David.
I always do that.
Oh my God. You know what's crazy about what just happened right now? Earlier today, I have to stop the show.
Yeah.
I like to make little rhymes and songs sometimes. They just happen. And I was doing one when I made my coffee and I said something. I ended the first line with teeth. And I came back and I said, I love when people confuse Keith David with David Keith. That happened today.
Whoa.
We've
had so many synchronicities.
Yeah. Do you think that one owes their career to the other? We know which way that went.
Mm-hmm.
Keith David.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the king. You watched Spawn, the animated series, by the way.
Yeah.
I love him so much. I mean, he is like top tier for me.
He's a treasure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyways, Brimley, who we also love deeply, rest in peace.
Mm-hmm. He died. He died.
Yeah,
2020, I think.
Yeah, pretty recently.
No. I looked it up. It was 2020.
Yeah. So we got to do the panel with him and a lot of the other people involved with the thing. And in my memories,
they're called thingies.
We call them thingies. My memory's terrible. I think it's out there somewhere. I think there might be a recording. It was at a Horror Hound weekend. The stories, Wilford Brimley in particular, talking about how it was interesting. His take on being a movie star was, I could give my grandkids a better Christmas.
Oh.
And I thought that was the most endearing, wonderful thing. Like, he was just a legit regular dude. Peepaw.
Yeah.
That's like Depression era thinking.
Yeah. And he was like, it was like nothing special. Yeah. He was like, is
it something he just fell into kind of?
It feels like it. Like, he did stunt work, I know. And he was like a rancher.
In this life, he is an immortal, so he's had previous lives.
Yeah.
He has to pick up and move on.
There can be only one.
He's somewhere else right now.
Yeah.
He's
in a new life.
He's somewhere else being old.
Yeah.
What if Brimley played the Kurgan in Highlander?
I'm telling you.
That would have been amazing.
Or like, can you see the Brimley take of his audition for Ramirez? Now you gotta. That there's called the quickening.
That's the quickening. It's the right thing to do. It's the right way to do it.
Right way to do it. I don't have a good Brimley. I'm sorry.
Brimley's tough.
I don't know what you would do.
He has a very specific, like,
you
regional rancher accent.
I have to work on it. I have to work on it.
The way the men speak in this movie, this is a very old fashioned. Like, if you watch the original Howard Hawks' The Thing, which could work as like, this could be a sequel to that movie. Honestly, like in a lot of ways, that could be like what went down at the other base, but it still has John Carpenter, I think, was such a fan of that era of movies too, that these guys, like Kurt Russell too, they have these voices that are borderline like broadcast voices, like you'd listen to them read stories to you, they stand alone, and that's across the board down to a man in this group. They're all very characteristic, deeply characteristic voices, and when which also I think part of that feeds into this idea of what we thought of as the voice of authority then was like that male newscaster voice.
Yeah.
And
something deep and resonant.
Yeah, like you wanted something like, so it feeds into that who do you listen to thing when everyone sounds like a leader at some point.
Yeah.
And, you're like, who's a leader here? Is someone a leader, or is this guy just really confident nuts? Or, like who do I get behind? It was beautiful in a way that he was able to create that illusion without drawing a lot of attention to it of, you kind of suspect McReady is like the main character, right? Because he's the best looking dude in the group.
He's on screen more than
he's on screen. Not necessarily. I feel like he gives so much. There's so much. That's where Dean Cundey comes in again. There's so much time devoted to these men in their own element throughout. It almost feels like an ensemble piece and less like a character story. Like,
for sure. Yeah.
I feel like Kurt Russell, with the baggage of knowing he's the big movie star and everything, feeds into that. But I almost feel like if this movie were released now, it would feel like a lot of these independent horror films, that have like casts you've never heard of, like it has that vibe of not knowing what's going to happen next because of that.
Something gross.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
You can't talk about it. You got Rob Bottin's effects. God, do they hold up? It's really beautiful.
The frozen blood is so cool.
When they go to the first research station, and they find the body. This is very much feels like a Star Trek story too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There have been similar, yeah.
Yeah, because you're dealing with Antarctica, which is essentially an alien planet, right? Like once you get to Antarctica or the bottom of the ocean, you're on Earth, but you're not on Earth, you know?
Yeah.
Question. So Andy was joking around earlier off mic about going on a thinging down in Antarctica with your friends.
We'll call it Thing Weekend.
Thing LARPing. As a joke, you said that, but like, I do have this part of me that would love to visit Antarctica.
No,
I do not have that part.
That's one of my dream vacations is to like go to the, not maybe the bottom of the world, but something really frozen and take one of those pods that's go underwater and just.
They do that?
James Cameron does it all the time, right?
I'll do that then. I want to do that. No, I don't because I'm claustrophobic.
I would do that.
But I want like a nice cozy cabin I can stay in though.
I don't think they really have those in Antarctica. It's mostly research stations, but I know you can do it. They're crazy expensive.
You can go to and watch the Northern Lights in those like those igloo things.
Oh yeah,
which is like camping in kind of a cold but it's less. And it's not like Antarctica, which is like another planet.
But like watch this movie, it makes me remind me how much I love playing the game Werewolf, and I get why that game Among Us was so popular.
Yeah, I do think like
it's just fun to like accuse people.
Yeah, a thing werewolf, which probably exists out there. I'm sure somebody created a game like that, whether it's licensed or not. But an officially licensed thing skin for a werewolf game would be a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. You were talking about, and is it pronounced Boehm? Is that how he pronounces his last name?
Well, I don't know. I say it that way because you say it that way.
I go back and forth because I'm not sure, and I figure 50% of the time I'll be right.
It might be Botten.
Yeah, I have no idea. I should know. I've talked to people who've worked with him and everything, and like I heard them say his name, and it just slid right off my mind like Teflon.
Someone will correct us. I'm certain of it.
Yeah, somebody knows. But he's still doing work on like Game of Thrones and shit. But I love his stuff from the 80s. Like he did RoboCop, Total Recall.
Oh wow, yeah.
7.
Oh yeah.
When you get in the 97, he did the you remember like the bloated dude and the mummified dude strapped to the bed and everything.
Mm-hmm.
He also did Humanoids from the Deep, like, but he was a performer in that too. He's one of the humanoids. But that shit's great. Did the Fog, a lot of that. But there was a huge effects team, but I think he was really like the driving force and creative force behind them.
No, those all have very gross, very slimy, very wonderful effects.
Yeah,
it's like magical. The scariest for me was the little whippy things that came out of the tentacle thingies.
Yeah.
For me, that's the scariest part.
My favorite part is the scene when they have to perform CPR on. You know what I'm talking? Yeah. That the whole spider head thing, which they referenced in that latest
Faculty.
Stephen King's It too.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there was a deliberate nod to that. That Charles Hallahan. The funny thing about that actor is, I was so scarred by seeing that scene in this movie that whenever I saw him in anything else, I always felt really unsettled.
Which actor was this? The one who chest opened up?
Yeah, whose chest pops open and the teeth are in it, and it bites his arms off.
And it bites his arms off. So okay, what the hell?
He was already infected in the thing.
No, I get it. So it can protect. It's protecting itself, and it can just like super quick alter DNA to create an opening that opens immediately.
Well, maybe I can help you.
Out.
There's this blue blob, and it's like 8
okay.
bits.
But this was one moment where I was like, I don't think they and they didn't need to. I'm not saying they needed to. I'm just saying the way my brain works. I'm like, this is where they decided they didn't necessarily need to explain everything. They just wanted to do cool shit.
Yeah, which is I prefer.
Which is fine.
Well, it's also terrifying to think that an alien can do something like that, change its form so easily and so fast.
Oh yeah,
I need to introduce you to a man named Odo.
Yeah, Odo from Deep Space Nine. But Odo never bit anybody's arms off.
Not that I know.
We know of. I love that moment so much, and I do think about like sometimes the logic behind like did the alien pick up bits of things to create like what was it putting together in that scene? You know, like it's always cooking something up. Like it's got shit in it, and I love that it's always in its belly area, like the kind of like it's like almost like kind of I guess a metaphor for like being pregnant and like it's gestating its new form, and then when it splits open, you kind of see the half-formed version of whatever it's working on.
Yeah,
and then when the head slides off of the fucking operating table,
that's so gross.
It is so amazing when the neck splits and all the fucking bursting green slime and sinew, and it just slides off on the ground. And you think, oh, all right, this is as bad as it's going to get. You know, I'm like 7 years old or something. I'm just like, and then I'm like, oh, spider legs. Spider legs popped out of his head. And then when the guy said, what's the funny one-liner he says like, you got to be fucking kidding me.
Something like that.
This was kind of like the first time I've ever seen one of these movies where someone reacts to something so horrifically with such a comic line, but it's still, as a kid, I was just like, that's not funny. I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding me. It's like a horror reaction to me. Because again, this is imprinted on my child
To me,
mind,
it's a very grounded reaction.
Yeah.
Like that's one of the best parts of the movie.
Would think. Yeah.
Like all the characters' reactions were very understandable, and I love how they tried to like figure it out in real time almost.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So like that's the tension just builds because you're discovering it with them.
Yeah, definitely. Windows, what an interesting character that was. That guy reminded me of Jeremy Sisto a lot for some reason. Just the vibe in general.
Oh, you say names, but you mean little puffy hair guy.
Puffy hair with sunglasses.
Yeah.
He was
like a tiny Sisto.
He was in what was his other thing? He was in another thing. He was
another
he's
thing?
been in a bunch of things.
I can tell you.
Somebody.
Like how many
tell
things?
you. He was in And Justice for All.
You know,
I think that's the name. He was on Buffy.
Yeah.
He was he was on the Punisher TV series, NYPD Blue. Any of these ringing a bell for you?
What's his
Kelly?
name?
His name is Thomas G. Waits.
It's Tom Waits.
This is a little skinny dude with the fucking army jacket, right?
Yeah, he was the communications guy trying to.
You know,
he's in some other thing.
Fuchs gave me the creeps. I mean, from Go, like before he was even like freaking out. The redheaded balding guy.
Oh, that's Fuchs?
Yeah, he was like, he was a guy you knew was going to maybe melt down.
He was a little jumpy. And you know those people are the ones that are like going to be the problem.
Yeah. And when they find him later all burned up is a great mysterious moment, and they leave it to your imagination kind of what went down.
Yeah.
A very dramatic thing went down, obviously, because he's incinerated.
I love a flamethrower.
Yeah.
My God. It's such a
so effective, badass.
It's such a boy thing. You know,
it's an extension of your penis, and you're shooting out fire because you're a fucking dragon.
It seems fun.
I don't want to
doesn't
shoot fire out of my penis.
But
I don't want that
it's
power.
It's a powerful. You're shooting something powerful out of your penis.
And they used it indoors.
Yeah, bad idea all around. But what are they going to do? At this point, it's like kill or be killed. So anything else?
They're desperate. They've had no choice but to use a flamethrower indoors.
What are they going to do, you guys?
Yeah,
I didn't know that flamethrowers could be like controlled that much to use it indoors. I thought it was just like a big range weapon.
Well, they used to use them to clear out bunkers.
What do I look like? Somebody who can answer this?
What a horrifying idea!
I don't know.
You're in a bunker in the ground, surrounded by concrete, with nowhere to go, and somebody fills it with burning gasoline.
Yeah,
that's essentially.
I wouldn't love it.
I wouldn't. I don't think it's not for me.
Not at all.
No matter how cold the Antarctic is.
You know, I like this movie for another reason. It gives me that. It's like Star Trek.
Yeah, it's very Star Trek.
Because it's a group of people. They all have a job.
Yeah.
They all do this thing. It's work porn.
It's a science. It's a science fiction workplace show.
Yes, which I love.
A workplace horror movie.
Because it's
workplace comedy.
A bunch of competent people who have each other's back and take care of a problem. Now, this problem.
It's not a bunch of hapless teenagers.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, you could look at any one of them as a leader.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a gamble. It's like a roulette, kind of like where you're like, okay.
Who leads in a room full of leaders?
Yeah. Who's going to start? And they even directly say when Fuchs, was it Fuchs? Somebody was falling to pieces in the beginning. And McReady's like, well, we need someone who's more level-headed. And the truth of the matter is they're in a no-win situation. They just got to basically salt the earth. And the first one to realize it is Blair, and they lock him up.
He did murder a bunch of dogs and destroy all their equipment. I get why he did it, but think about it from their point.
Oh no, it seems crazy. Like because also you got to think people had seen The Shining at this point, and when Jack Nicholson goes in and destroys the CB radio, that scene is because he wants to hurt. He wants to isolate them to hurt them, when really Wilford Brimley's character, Blair's losing his shit. He destroys their communication, all of their communication apparatus, because he knows that it will try to communicate and draw people in so it can continue to survive until it finishes building its fucking escape vessel.
Yeah.
Which is another great moment.
So here's my question. What is your personal feeling on the likelihood of something alien being buried under the ice on this planet?
I have no background in this, so as a layman, I'm going to say I have no fucking idea.
Yeah, just like, what do you feel?
I do feel like I this may have been addressed as ice melts. There may be microbes and diseases.
Yeah.
Or Captain America.
They had an extra episode like that.
I don't know if I feel like there's an alien life form buried in the ice, other than alien in the fact that it was frozen eons and eons ago.
Yeah.
Which is just as alien. Yeah,
it could come from a meteor that hit the Earth and
exactly
meteor.
But I do think that there have to be that. Well, they don't have to be, but there absolutely could be organisms like that can like just shut down and then open back up. So that's another concern for climate change, by the way.
Yeah, once those melt, we're going to be inundated with little spider heads, little human heads with spider legs running around.
I hope not. That was real gross. I'll say I'm probably the loser here. That's like, I bet there's a fucking alien being under the ice. I'm going to go with 18% chance.
Yeah. Well, I would say, there's certainly a chance.
Mm-hmm. Andy?
I'd like to think that there is.
He likes that. Like a thing?
You'd like to think there is.
Yeah.
You'd like to think there's a thing?
Not this thing, but
Not this
a thing.
That thing.
I just like the idea of foreign shit.
Yeah.
Alien stuff.
Did we see on Colbert was making jokes about an organism that was 24,000 years old that they were able to... It's still alive.
Yeah. I thought you were going to mention the reference. They used a clip from The Thing in an episode recently, and it was weird quinky dink.
A few weeks ago. Anyway, a 24,000-year-old organism that is still alive.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a one-cell thing or two-cell.
Is it in the center?
Yeah, well, there are those organisms that are basically immortal. They kind of just renew, but they never like die.
They never die.
It votes every election too. We need to get
They're really fucking up with the curve.
Yeah.
Get with the times.
The Thing is so good.
Back in 2002, there was a video game they put out that I think I tried, but now I can't remember. That might be worth tracking down just to see what it's like. Also, this has been referenced and tributed in pretty much every sci-fi and horror TV show you've ever seen. They have a Thing episode.
The X-Files did it in like the first season, second season, somewhere.
Yeah. Ice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A million movies have done this.
Yeah.
I think
greater and lesser extents.
Whoops. I
God,
just pulled my microphone completely off the stand. So the nut hit the floor. It's down there somewhere. So
the nut hit the floor.
Let the nut hit the floor. So
that's a different kind of song.
I was gonna say, probably between my legs.
The nut hit the floor between your legs.
There's that nut. What were we talking about before I destroyed my microphone?
You were saying...
Oh, references. Yeah, I think the X-Files tribute to this is the most blatant, obvious. Like, they're like, we're just going to do our version of the thing.
Yeah.
So if you haven't seen that episode, I recommend it if you're a fan of the thing, because it is very much not.
It's fun.
It follows all the steps.
Well, again, I would say The Faculty is like a direct.
Yeah.
Like, and I actually really like that movie.
I do too.
That was a real fun movie.
I like that movie more now than I did when it came out.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's got like a cult feeling to it now. The Faculty, people were talking about it more.
Just for Josh Hartnett's hair.
Yeah, seriously. Freddie, how's it going? Putting your Mikey mic back together. He's doing great, guys.
I muted it so that you would.
Oh, okay, but now he's talking to me. All right, listener.
Sorry.
We thanged. We did that thing.
I guess
we did the thing.
The Earth's gravitational, like the rotation of the Earth, caused my microphone to unscrew.
Yeah, that's what I would guess.
Yeah.
That makes the most sense, right?
Thanks so much, Mike Goal. Are you Michael or Mike? Are you like a Mikey? Are you a Mai? Are you a Cole?
Mikal?
Mikal?
Cole.
You know what?
What?
I think we've always called him Michael.
Well, there you go,
and
Michael.
he never corrected us, so I think we're mostly safe.
Yeah, and thank you for all the cheese you've given us.
Oh, man.
And to your lovely wife, Beth, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, thank you.
See, I got your name right that time.
We still got to go up there. We have to go up to Young's Dairy.
Yeah, they very nicely gave us a gift card that we haven't used yet.
Nope.
We've been there before,
4
though,
years
and
old.
it's fantastic.
They've got goats.
They got goats.
Oh, they got goats.
Don't you love goats?
What?
They have great ice cream. It's good shit.
Well,
Yeah,
that
they give
doesn't
us-
just get my goat.
And they everywhere around they give us some homemade zucchini bread, and it's
that's
delicious.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Lovely people. Love them.
So you too could pick a movie if you give me treats. Just kidding. That's not how this works.
Just to call back to that, you just go to notlp.com. notlp.com. Scroll to your CD, Dracula, the vampire with the partner's here.
Hello.
There it is.
All right, everybody. Well, we're gonna do the thing we do every show.
We're going to test everyone's blood.
Yeah, one of these Beelzebubs is a thing.
A thing. Let's see if you can guess who.
You gotta get them out.
Yep. We always say hi to our Beelzebubs, patreon.com/NOTLP if that's the thing you want to do. First up, Alise.
Hi, baby. We're going to watch the game. She's making ribs.
She's not a
to
thing.
Watch the game. She's not a thing.
If she's making ribs, she's not a thing.
Ribs.
That's exactly what a thing would want you to think.
Well, Amanda, you're not a thing. You're a nice lady.
You're not a thing.
Ernie.
What's up?
Yeah.
Could be a thing. Could be.
Don't know.
We're not getting out of here alive.
It's true.
Okay, we got Mark Watts.
So, Mark.
What's up? I'll put. I don't know. You.
Trust's a tough thing to come by these days.
Yeah.
Bill Verner.
So, Bill.
Yeah.
Bill.
You're not a thing.
Bill, why'd you can't tear my arm off, Bill?
Blake.
So, Blake.
I think you're clear. You're clear.
He's clear.
He's going clear?
Blake's got the cleanest blood out of this entire list.
Jeremy, Cassie, and Gamora.
Oh, you got to start suspecting Gamora first.
Yeah. We all know dogs are a good host.
I would let her take over me.
They're easier to impersonate. Oh, what an intimidating prospect of a...
Gamora can assimilate me. I would just give up.
She's huge. If she's the thing, you're done.
Jeffel.
Torn to shreds, you say?
Iona Goodwin.
What? She has to contend with things that are probably just as scary as a lot of this stuff.
In Australia? Yeah. Iona Great One.
Yeah.
Jimmy B.
What's up, Jimmy? I haven't forgotten about getting you that thumb drive. That sounds real clandestine when I say it like that.
Well, you're saying it on a recorded
haven't,
Don't tell people that
about that, wink, wink.
that night
Well,
in
hold
Paris.
I just realized.
Yeah, I was like, you need to refresh this list.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Somebody got a call out.
I'm just waiting for Freddie to update this list for me.
I do believe that I may strangle someone.
And
by accident. Why is everything so big?
Did Freddie get shrunk?
Honey, I shrunk my honey.
I was like losing my mind. All right, here we go. That looks better.
There we go.
We got Juvland.
Yeah,
you skipped Emily and Branan.
Oh shit! I'm so sorry. Freddie was scrolling.
Oh, Amy's a thing.
I'm a thing. It's me.
That's how we knew.
All right, Emily and Branan. We know now that it's because it's me.
Yeah,
you guys are clear.
Real Amy would never skip Emily and Branan.
Mm-hmm. Bill Chandler. Much love to Bill.
Yeah. Love you, Bill. But why'd you let that clown tear my arm off, Bill?
For a second, it sounded like he said, "Why'd you let that clown turn my alarm off, Bill?"
I overslept, Bill, and then I had to die.
Blayne Turner.
Hey, Blayne.
Hey. Alyssa, I hope you're having fun digging out from feet of snow.
She looks like she's in the Arctic right now, too.
Yeah. You watch out for things.
Yeah.
She watched the
unleash a thing.
She said on the Discord that like she was under the blanket with the cats watching the thing, and I was like, phew.
That's some cozy shit.
That's about as cozy as it gets when you have that much snow outside.
Yeah. Monica.
What up?
I was gonna start to sing Monica to the tune of Gloria, but I couldn't.
You mean like Monica? Hosting Hanukkah.
We got Polly G.
Oh,
DJ
shit.
Polly G.
The situation. With Dr. The Situation, Brian.
Is that your nickname? Dave Siebert.
DJ Pauly Dave.
Yup.
Carla Gibson.
Carla Gibson. I don't know.
DJ Carla G.
So many DJs.
Yeah.
There's the
DJ CG.
They flooded the field with DJs. Now they're just playing for pennies now.
Yeah.
Yep. DJ Jazzy Dustin Chisam and the Fresh Ace.
Aww.
And Lynn Walsh.
Again, contending with possible real spider heads.
I come from a land down under.
Thank you.
From under.
From under.
It's my favorite cheese.
The cowabunga from down under.
I love it.
All right, everybody.
Well, we did it.
We did it, and
wish us luck in our game today.
In our
sorry,
game.
Amy.
In the game we're playing in. Me and Kelly are playing in. No, that's what I was going to say.
Oh.
You hope you guys roided up.
I'm roided and ready to throw some balls.
I've got so much roid.
Yeah, roids.
Hammer.
I heard somebody called those backdoor caviar on Letterkenny. I thought it was pretty good.
Ooh, okay.
All right, bye,
Thanks
guys.
for your time.
Chef's kiss.
When his old buddy Leatherface put on Dawn of the Dead, and Igor made the nachos in a severed human head, and they enjoy the movie with their friends. David Kessler walks the streets of London.